You know, when you look at stories in the royal calendar, it's very easy, isn't it, to pick fault. We saw recently with Channel 4 how they tried to make that ridiculous dispatches thing all about the missing hidden millions of course, Prince William and His Majesty the King. And as I pointed out at that time, they're all there in public record. You can see exactly how it operates, and there's nothing untoward. But of course, if you want to pick holes in stuff, particularly when you are a left-leaning channel and say, look, the rich are getting richer, well, that's what the rich do. You know, there's always going to be them and us, whichever way you look at it. If you look way back in history at things that we've all loved, like the Duchess of Duke Street, and of course upstairs, downstairs, you know, that's life. And not everybody can be a mega multimillionaire like Rockefeller. And of course, more people are like you and I, struggling along. You get the picture. But what's fascinating to see now is this particular royal story developing, because it emerged that apparently, according to records, the coronation of King Charles III, way back now in that May, well, a rather grisly day if you remember at the start of it, but then peaked and got better as the day went on. Well, that cost us 72 million. Apparently that was half the cost of the original 1953 coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. But of course the naysayers are up in arms. What they don't realise, and I know people understand this, is the amount of money that brought into the country, with people celebrating, hotels, flights, restaurants, you name it. Trust me, it's worth billions. So 72 million is not really that much. And when you consider it as well, we're still having the wonderful effect now because people are going off to the tourist traps and seeing where the coronation took place, all of that sort of stuff. And when you look at the sold out thing of the Buckingham Palace balcony this year, clearly there's an appetite for royal life. So I don't really understand why people are so offended by that. Everything costs, and normally we're paying, right? One thing we're not paying for though is this, that's right, the former royal known as the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. And a lot of people are still wittering on about the situation with Royal Lodge. Now, I have to be quite delicate here because obviously I know certain bits, but the bottom line is this: people are now asking, well, how can he afford to keep Royal Lodge when the running costs are X amount a year? And as we know, His Majesty the King decided to pull back from this because he wanted to reduce royal costs, and rightly so, no two ways about that. Again, where it gets really interesting is this has actually come from family money, and the running costs will be met by, of course, the Duke of York and other family money. Now, one might surmise that this might be to do, of course, along with his daughters. The reason why he wants to hang on to Royal Lodge, I would say, is this is his last sort of vesture of himself. You know, do you really want to strip this person away when at this point, as I've said many times before, there is no criminality attached? Right now, nobody's come through with any credible evidence, but he's done everything by the book. He's not written a book, he's not done docuseries, he's not told stories. All he wants is to remain living the way that he's lived. And really, is that not really all what we all want? If he's found the money independently, why is it a problem? According to a source, it's certainly not a problem for His Majesty the King. And as long as the King is not paying out of taxpayers' coffers, he's more than happy. So either way, which way you look at it, isn't it time that was simply laid to rest? Neil Shawn, Kensington, London.